Sport, friends, family or job? Forget about it. It's the time to pass GMAT. Oh! This is life. If you want to pass GMAT really well in a dedicated time frame, there's something you need to sacrifice. Or someone. No, I'm kidding. You have to compensate. Life is all about balance and compensation. So, life is all about balance. GMAT will occupy a lot of your time, a lot of your physical and mental powers. So, you have to be fit, you have to be ready to dedicate a lot of time to GMAT. When you're studying for it, you should totally disconnect yourself from social media, from the internet, because GMAT is the test that tests your stamina, the test that tests your time management. So if you're being distracted, you cannot fully prepare or do the mock test. So please do yourself a favor and just turn everything off when you're at least doing this mock test, when you're preparing for GMAT, you're studying for it, turn it on after, nobody will die. I always advise my students when planning for the ideal score or planning for the GMAT preparation is to use the SMART goals. If you didn't study in the business school yet, you probably do not know what is a SMART goal. S would be specific, M would be measurable, A achievable, R realistic, and T timely. It means that when you're setting yourself goals, they have to be realistic. It's okay if you need to study 100 hours throughout 6 months. It's okay if you need to study 100 hours within 2 months. You have your own learning style. The difficulty with many students is that they set unrealistic goals, and then when they can't keep up, they get demotivated and they totally drop it all off. Forget about this, we are grown-ups. I mean, if you're taking GMAT, you're probably a grown-up. Make sure to do a strategy behind your planning, that you will dedicate this amount of time to the studies, and this is how your schedule will look like. It's fine, everybody has their own path and learning style. You don't have to jump over the hoops just to do it. Your study plan must be a strategy in a routine with study pattern. Consider today is 1st of October and I want to pass the GMAT test 15th of December. Count backwards. If I want to pass GMAT 15th of December, it means my last trial test I have to do on 12th of December. It means that until 12th of December, every week for the last month, I have to do the mock tests. It means that I start today. It means I have to dedicate out of 100 hours, 2 hours per day to study. So do the count backwards from the exam date, and this will really help you out. Do not hurry after someone else. This is your future, this is your test, and this is your investment in time. Consider project management. In the future, in the company, you might be working project management with a lot of short-term goals, long-term goals, short-term projects, long-term projects, and nobody will be there to drag you and tell you what to do. You have to organize your own time correctly, with a lot of projects running simultaneously. So consider this your life project. What is so peculiar about GMAT? Formats. And this is very important for you to know. The GMAT test will confuse you. This is nothing that you've learned in school or in other tests. The way it is being analyzed and your result is being deducted is absolutely different. So it will confuse you. Be ready for this. This is an adaptive test. It means that the better you score in the first 10 answers, the more difficult for you it will be, because the computer will adapt to your pace and to your speed and to your mistakes. So the first 10 questions people say are the most important. However, you know what is important? Everything is important. Don't disregard any part of the test. The moment you do the mock test and you realize you're weak at some point, at some specific part of the test, make sure to be perfect at this. This is your test. This test is about time management. You have to work under stress. You don't have enough time to think. So you have to be used to solving this test often at home as mock tests, and to do the adaptive tests a lot. You need to practice on adaptive tests, do a lot of mock tests at home, and do it often. Yes, it requires a lot of time, but then it's an investment in the future. Adaptive tests will help you define your timing. It will help you understand the time restrictions. Focus on the weakest points. It's like in life. If you're coming from a mathematical background, if you're coming from an engineering background, the possibility that you need to train your soft skills is very high. Same story here. If you take a GMAT trial test and you understand that you're really weak in math, study the books, study the materials, prepare yourself for the math part. Because every single part is very important. If you don't score well in the real test, you can always take it again. The majority of the business schools across the globe, or in Germany, have 2 starting dates per year, September and January, or September or October and March. So if you don't make it now, you can make it a little bit later, but you know where you stand. So everything in life happens for a reason. If it was not the best result the first time you took it, take it again. Nothing will happen. Everything happens for a reason. I guess then it was meant to be this way. When you're doing the test, make sure to manage your time. Set yourself a timer when you're practicing the mock test. Time again, which is the most important part of your examination. I also recommend when you're practicing for the test that you answer a question in 2 minutes. First time, try answering 20 questions in 20 minutes. The moment you're good with that, try passing the 20 questions within 17 minutes and then 20 questions within 15 minutes. So this way you train yourself to be up to speed. Do I have to focus on the math when passing the GMAT test? Yes, I would say practice mental math because there is no calculators, so you have to be able to process everything in your brain really, really fast, just like as fast as I talk. So yeah, but I mean, it's important. It's also important for you for the future. You have no time to reach for the calculator. And in the test, approximate. GMAT mostly uses the reliable numbers. In GMAT, you have to be comfortable analyzing the graphs and different visuals. Literally, go back to school books and refresh your geometry, refresh your algebra. So this is something you will need again. Who knew, huh? GMAT is about time, GMAT about efficiency and attentivity. Make sure, just like in IELTS, to read the tasks carefully. Sometimes the answers are hidden in there. Do I have to read thoroughly the tasks in GMAT? Yes, you have to. GMAT is about attentivity. Read the tasks. Sometimes the answers are hidden in there, just like in IELTS. And make sure to read a lot of business literature when preparing for the GMAT, like New York Times, Financial Times, to read the articles. Make sure to read them daily, to be comfortable in the literature. Do not skip anything. Learn to read diagonally to be able to determine what is the important point or the message of the or. You're not there to learn the text by heart. You're there to understand the reasoning. You need to understand what is important, which topics are there for you to help you answer a certain statement. Are some GMAT tasks more valuable than the others? Well, there is belief that the first 10 questions are the most important, but the last 10 are as important because they all influence your grade. But since it's an adaptive test, the system will adapt to your first 10 question answers and determine your path further on. So I would say focus on everything, but make a crucial influence. So aim to pass the first 10 really well. When you're preparing for GMAT, make sure to focus first on quant part, and only when you have like 80% well-established answers and you know the structure, only then proceed to the verbal part and practice for that. When you have accuracy of 90% on your verbal part and your quant part, only then proceed further and prepare for the rest of the parts. How do I mentally prepare for the GMAT test right before the exam, the last few days? Actually, sleep. Well, first of all, prepare all the documents needed for your GMAT test, like passport and whatnot. Then make sure to have really good night's sleep. Distract yourself from the test. Watch a movie, listen to the music, solve a few questions more, but not many, not to get into anxiety. Understand that you're at the point that this is it. You cannot control the outcome 100%, but you can control it 90%. Do your best, practice. But then again, you always have a safety blanket of the score. You always have a safety blanket of taking it again. So you studied well, you're good to go, and you're just gonna do fine. Don't worry. And the best advice is, on the GMAT test day, don't forget to breathe. This is the most important advice. You can choose the order which you want to take the test with, so make sure to take something with that you're comfortable with. 2 of my students already passed the GMAT and they already applied to MBA programs in Germany in the best schools. So they shared with the future students their tips and tricks. So why don't you go ahead and click in the article and take a look what Harman and Devapra team tell you, what do they advise you, because they already scored average of 150 GMAT. Let them help you. So these were the main important points and the best practices for the GMAT test. I hope it will help help you out. Best of luck with everything, and if you would like to know more tips and tricks on passing the GMAT, just click in the article, because 2 students that successfully passed the GMAT with average 650 points shared their experience, and I'm happy to share it with you. Have a good day, let me know if there's anything, and stay tuned.